Northwest Campus Auditorium or online via the Daily Bruin's YouTube live stream. This debate is being hosted jointly by the Undergraduate Student Association's Elections Board and the Daily Bruin, UCLA's student newspaper. My name is Simra Mirza, and I'm the Election Board's Director of External Relations, and my co-moderator is Chen, who is the Daily Bruin's campus politics editor. Today, we'll be hearing from all attending candidates regarding their platforms and their plans for the upcoming year. The debates are structured as follows.
The offices have been split between two debate days with contested and uncontested candidates evenly distributed, so all candidates may have an equal level of visibility. If multiple candidates come on stage, we will ask them to introduce themselves by name before beginning opening statements. Candidates running for the office of president, those running uncontested, and ballot initiative representatives will have 60 seconds for their opening statements, while candidates for other offices will receive 45 seconds for their opening statements. All candidates will be given the opportunity to present their opening statements in alphabetical order organized by first name. It is in this alphabetical order that randomly selected questions will be asked after all candidates of an office have given their opening statements. Candidates will have 45 seconds to respond to their question, and opponents will then have the opportunity to make a 30-second statement, either expanding upon their opponent's position or opposing it. To do so, the candidate must raise their hand and wait to be called on by the moderators. The original candidate then will have the opportunity to give a 20-second rebuttal after all other opponents who wish to speak have spoken. Then, the next candidate will be asked another question, and the process will repeat. Once all candidates have been asked their questions, candidates running for president, candidates running uncontested, or ballot initiative representatives will present their 60-second closing statement, while other candidates from other offices will have 45 seconds to present their closing statements. If a candidate exceeds their allotted speaking time, they will be warned and cut off. If the candidate continues to speak or later exceeds their allotted speaking time again, their microphone will be muted.
Beyond this, there are a few things to keep in mind regarding some debate protocols, and they are as follows. Audience members are expected to be mindful and respectful of everyone participating in the debates. Candidates and campaign participants are responsible for their team's actions and behavior. The Elections Board reserves the right to impose sanctions depending on the severity of behavior from a candidate, slate, or designated campaign representative during the debates. The Elections Board reserves the right to restrict audience participation in the debates if it determines that the audience behavior runs contrary to core values expected by the UCLA Student Conduct Code. All audience members, including external actors to UCLA, are expected to abide by these standards. If the Election Board determines that certain members in the audience are hindering the continuation of the debates, the Election Board reserves the right to escort them out of the event. If the Election Board decides the candidates are harassing other candidates while on stage, they may impose sanctions on the offending candidates. If the affiliated slates create a disturbance during the event, whether as an entire slate or individual members of the slate, the Election Board reserves the right to dismiss audience members from the event. Given the severity of the disturbance, the Election Board reserves the right to impose sanctions on the candidates or slates involved. Additionally, should a disruption occur within the audience as determined by Election Board members, the Election Board reserves the right to cancel or remove the location of the debates. Now, a few reminders as we go into the debate. Please keep in mind that candidates are not permitted to bring any form of notes onto the stage. Additionally, for candidates competing for a position, please do not use your closing statement to continue a conversation or talking point that took place during a question-and-answer period with your opponents. Now, without further ado, we'd like to call the candidate for Transfer Student Representative Hiram Yoon.
Good evening. When you're ready, please begin with your 60-second opening statement.
Hi everyone, my name is Hiram Yoon, my pronouns are she, they. I'm a first-year transfer, third-year overall, studying English and history, and I'm running to serve as your next USAC Transfer Student Representative with a key focus of transfer unity in mind. I will accomplish this through 4 of my platforms, the first of which being transfer opportunities, to ensure that transfers are present in every single leadership and decision-making space at UCLA, transfer connections to ensure that the pipeline between California community colleges to UC transferring is accessible and available for all students. Transfer needs and accessibility to ensure that our transfers that with dependents, transfers with disabilities, and transfers that our parents have the adequate resources they need to thrive in UCLA's academic environment. And last but not least, transfer mental health to ensure that our transfer students' needs are being addressed both mentally and physically. I have worked in 4 different USAC offices this school year, and as co-president of the Transfer Group Reading Society, I've always put transfers at the forefront of every single decision that I've made. And I'm really excited for this
Now for your first question, what initiatives do you propose to ensure equitable access to campus resources for transfer students with limited time on campus? You'll have 45 seconds.
Yeah, so that's a great question to ask. Our transfer students, we make up such a big portion of UCLA's population, and unfortunately, a lot of our resources on campus were made with traditional four-year students in mind, which is why I will bring into conversation transfer students in every single place that I'm in, whether it be our weekly USAC meetings or meetings with administrators. I will ensure that the transfer student narrative is recognized, and I will be sure to not generalize the varied walks of life that transfers come from, and ensure that their voices can be heard in every single decision-making space at UCLA.
Thank you. Your next question, which you'll also have 45 seconds for, is what do you think is the biggest issue facing transfer students at UCLA?
I think for me, the biggest challenge for transfer students is finding community. Our transfers, again, come from such different and varied backgrounds that it makes it difficult for us to find our place to belong in the 2 short years that a lot of students are traditionally here for. That's also a huge reason why I made the Transfer Bruin Reading Society in the first place, to foster a community of book lovers to come together and connect. I hope to accomplish this through my Transfer Mental Health platform, where we genuinely work to uplift our cultural and identity-based organizations and make sure that they are being truly inclusive of transfer students to ensure that the transfer narrative is all throughout UCLA.
Thank you. You can now give your 60-second closing statement.
Yeah, so first of all, I started college at 16, so being up here and giving this speech is just surreal in its own regard. And I'd like to thank my family for watching from back home, because I know that they were excited to see me, come up here and address the undergraduate student population at UCLA. I would also like to thank the Daily Bruin and the Elections Board for co-hosting tonight's events as well as yesterday's. And genuinely, I'm so giddy and excited when I think about the next year ahead. I love transfers, and I strongly believe in transfer unity. Power to the transfer. Thank you so much.
We'd now like to welcome to the stage the candidate for Academic Affairs Commissioner, Christopher Espino.
Good evening. When you're ready, please begin with your 60-second opening statement.
Yeah, well, good morning, everyone. Well, good evening, actually. Thank you so much for being here. It's an absolute privilege and honor to be sitting here before you all today. I'm running for the Academic Affairs Commissioner position because there's still a lot of work to do. Last year when I ran on a mission to make academic equity a tangible reality, and we've done so much work to ensure that the existing programs were ameliorated and improved, and that we expanded access. My office did something incredible this year, and I didn't do it alone. All my office staff worked and collaborated on ensuring that we created a space of student advocacy and leadership. We created the first ever SARC program, which is the Student to the Registrar Ambassadorship, which puts students at the forefront, advocating for things like course marking, advocating for things like ensuring that students are not able to purchase classes for other students. And so we've done a lot of work. We've collaborated with a lot of groups. We collaborated with the Disabled Student Union to create a COVID-19 relief website, really offering information and to all of the students around.
That would be time. Now for your first question, what is your plan to advocate for lower textbook costs, expanded enrollment resources, and continued provision of discussion sections? You'll have 45 seconds.
I think it's incumbent upon the Commission to conduct profound research. We've done that this year. After we became cognizant of the fact that we were going to have Bruin access, we immediately started working on a research proposal. One of the historic platforms of the Academic Affairs Commission is Access and Equity. And so within that unit, we began developing a research with faculty members to try and gauge the interest of faculty and also how much it's employed by students. I know I speak from personal experience. I enrolled in Bruin Access program, not because I needed to. I didn't have any, I only had one book to purchase, which means that I could have gone out and purchased that book elsewhere, but I wanted to recognize what the hindrances were. And so it's research and policy.
Thank you.
That's the question.
The Academic Affairs Commissioner nominates multiple undergraduate representatives to the Academic Senate. How would you ensure that students' needs are being advocated for before the Senate? You'll again have 45 seconds.
Thank you. So passion. I think passion is indispensable. We've had in the past student senators sort of be appointed and then sort of just disappear in the middle of the school year. And what I heard from that is because they don't feel like they're creating tangible change. So when I was the chief of Senate last year, I developed the Passion Project proposal. Essentially, this mandates that all senators conduct the Passion Project. And this year, we've had over 20 senators conduct Passion Project, ranging from microwaves on campus, which I submitted a surplus proposal. So next year, we should be seeing microwaves for community students across campus. To a foster youth program, I secured $15,000 through an outside grant to create a program that will help systems-involved youth pair them to UCLA students to conduct mentorship.
You may now give your 60-second closing statement.
Yeah, so this year, my office, I haven't done this alone. You're electing one person, but there are so many people in my office who we've been really diligent and dedicated to creating systemic change. Every single meeting during our weekly commission meetings, I tell my office members, I say, what do we want to leave after we go, right? My time is a 1 year elect, right? I'm elected for a 1 year term. And so I'm all actively thinking about how to ensure that we are bringing things that will be here long after we're gone. And one of the things, as I mentioned, is the student ambassador to the registrar pilot program, and we're creating, and they should be released in 2 to 3 weeks, the first ever tech scholarship that will help students. We would offer scholarships to students who don't have electronic devices. In addition to that, we're creating a student leadership award to recognize people who are committed to social justice and academic equity.
Thank you. You may now take your seat.
Thank you.
We'd now like to welcome to the stage the candidates for Cultural Affairs Commissioner, Devine Troick and Mitchell Stevens.
Good evening. Could you each introduce yourself by stating your name?
Hi, my name is Devine Troick.
Hello, my name is Mitchell Stevens.
Thank you. Good evening, Devine. When you're ready, please begin with your 45-second opening statement.
Hi everyone, my name is Devine Troick. I'm a second-year sociology major and I'm ready to be your next Cultural Affairs Commissioner. I've been in CAC for the last 2 years. I started off in the Conscious series and I've grown to become a leader as the current chief of staff. CAC has changed my life. Its mission of edutainment has helped me discover my purpose of using art as a tool for social change. But most importantly, CAC has shown me the power that we as students hold to create positive social change by advocating for the needs of Black, Brown, and Indigenous students of color and other marginalized groups. And that has inspired me to run to be your Cultural Affairs Commissioner. I'm committed to creating spaces for BIPOC students, that achieve intersectional solidarity between our communities and ignite conversations. Thank you.
Thank you. Mitchell, please proceed with your 45-second opening statement.
Hello everyone, my name is Mitchell Stevens. I'm a third-year human biology and society major, and I'm ready to be your next Cultural Affairs Commissioner. My major running platforms include campus as a sanctuary, ensuring that all students, no matter background, ethnicity, are represented at UCLA and have a space and have a safe space for each other. In addition, one of my next platforms includes diversity, equity, and inclusion without permission, ensuring that each student has equitable and equal opportunity, resources, and representation across campus.
Thank you, Mitchell. Devine will have the first response to the first question. How do you plan to make cultural programming more inclusive of smaller, underrepresented student communities? You'll have 45 seconds.
So I plan to make the Cultural Affairs Commission more inclusive to smaller communities with my platform of expanding cultural galleries. I intend to keep CAC's current galleries, Dias de los Muertos, Indigenous Expressions, Latina and Filipina galleries, but I want to expand them to highlight the African diaspora, Asian American descent, Hawaiian descent, and Pacific Islander descent, And I also work by actually speaking to students, hearing, because everyone's needs are different, actually speaking to those students, speaking to student organizations that represent those groups, and working with them, collaborating with them through camp events and making their needs seen in the cultural participation.
Mitchell, would you like to offer a 30-second response? We'll then move on to the next question. Mitchell, you'll have the first response to the second question. How do you plan to ensure a healthy and inclusive culture within the Cultural Affairs Commission? You'll again have 45 seconds.
I believe that it's important to recognize the diverse students and populations that we have on campus. The diversity of thought amongst these diverse communities are important and should be recognized. And I believe that through continuing to collaborate with these student organizations to continue to incorporate these students in our voices and in terms of what they intend to bring to campus. And I believe that through CAC, we can continue to unite these cultural organizations and what they hope to continue to bring to UCLA's campus.
Divine, would you like to offer a 30-second response?
Can you repeat the question, please?
How do you plan to ensure a healthy and inclusive culture within the Cultural Affairs Commission?
Yeah, just once again reiterating that addressing student needs by actually talking to students, talking to student organizations, that is crucial. We are representing 30,000 students, and it's so important to speak to them directly and reflect their needs.
Mitchell, would you like to close that question with a 20-second rebuttal?
No.
Divine, you now have your 45-second closing statement.
Thank you all for being here today. Thank you all for watching online. We are in a period of brutal change with Donald Trump in office as his administration heightens the systems of racial capitalism, white supremacy, genocide, and xenophobia, and those obstacles are overflowing onto our campus, harming the safety of our students, especially international, undocumented, low-income students of color, and other marginalized groups. But the history of student activism at UCLA shows that when we unite and fight against institutional oppression, real change happens. And I'm committed as your Cultural Affairs Commissioner to fight against institutional oppression. I know the Cultural Affairs Commission with my experience, and I'm confident that I'm the one to run this commission and be your next Cultural Affairs Commissioner. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mitchell, you may now give your 45-second closing statement.
I appreciate the opportunity to represent the diverse student body that we have on UCLA's campus, especially during a time in which cultural identity is being stripped from us and cultural programming is at an all-time high. I appreciate you guys listening to my point of view, and I hope that my change can invoke numerous things within the Cultural Affairs Commission, USAC as a whole, and the entire student body.
Thank you. We'd now like to welcome to the stage the candidate for External Vice President, Sherry Joe. Good evening. When you're ready, please begin with your 60-second opening statement.
Hi everyone, my name is Sherry. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm running to be your next external vice president. I'm running because I believe that access to equitable and affordable higher education is a right, and it's a right that's currently not only being targeted by the federal administration, but it's one that's been unfulfilled by UCLA administration and UC-wide policymakers for far too long. In my current role as internal head of staff in the EVP office, I've already been doing this work to expand basic needs infrastructure on campus, lobbying on local, state, and federal government representatives, and speaking to a multitude of students and student organizations. I believe that the EVP's work must center students and student organizers and organizations, and that's something that I want to center as EVP next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. For your first question, the external vice president often spearheads USAC's advocacy efforts. What things would you lobby for with government and UC officials? You'll have 45 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that something that is super important to talk about to local, state, and federal representatives this year is access and retention. When we look at the budget cuts that are currently being proposed by the state and being implemented by our administrators, we see services that our most marginalized communities rely on to be able to access the UC. We see services that our transfer students need and pathways that our transfer students need to come to the UCLA being cut. And I think that these are things that we must lobby for, we must advocate for, and I want to bring students and student organizations into that process by creating identity and issue-based lobbying trips for students and student organizations.
Thank you. For your next question, what would your priorities be when allocating the EVP office's six-figure budget, especially when making decisions relating to the multiple funding bodies the office manages, such as the Bruin Advocacy Grant? You'll have 45 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that when we're talking about student-funded student fees that are funding USAC, I want to first and foremost make sure that those fees are going back into the hands of students. When we talk about the Bruin Advocacy Grant, like I said before, there are so many student organizations who are already doing advocacy work, whether that's going on their own lobbying trips, speaking to representatives, doing like mutual aid work, and that's where I see most of EVP's money going next year, is directly back into the hands of students and student organizations, particularly when we talk about basic needs. It's so easy for an office like EVP, I think, to forward basic needs initiatives and use our funding for those types of things. Thank you.
When you're ready, please give your 60-second closing statement.
Yeah, I think now more than ever, education policy must be holistic, and it must center student needs and student voices. As the next EVP, I will prioritize expanding basic needs infrastructure on campus, expanding food security and affordable housing on campus, fighting for accessible and affordable higher education, increasing pathways for transfer and non-traditional students, and protecting access and retention programs at UCLA. There's so many issues that we all face as students, but I think that as EVP, it's incredibly important to put forward and to center students who are marginalized and to center those access and retention programs who help those that struggle the most at UCLA. Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley. You may now take your seat. At this point, we would like to call to the stage the Good Clothes, Good People Basic Needs Referendum Ballot Initiative Representative, Holly Hebden.
Good evening, Holly. When you're ready, please start with your 60-second opening statement.
Yeah, hi, my name is Holly Hebden. I'm the campaign representative for the Good Clothes Good People Basic Needs Amendment. Good Clothes Good People is a campus organization that provides thousands of students each year with basic needs resources. In 2020, the UCLA student body overwhelmingly voted yes to increase student fees to provide us with money to purchase school supplies and hygiene products. The restricted language means we can only use it to purchase school supplies and hygiene products. Additionally, earlier this year, the Basic Needs Redistribution Center almost lost its home. So amending the referendum would allow us to both expand basic needs resources on campus and secure our home indefinitely. Additionally, it would not increase student fees, and it would keep the current fee at 37 cents a quarter. It would just allow us flexibility with our funding.
Thank you, Holly. As the referendum's language states, the list of basic needs for students is extensive and varied. If the Basic Needs Center expands its served needs without increasing its fee, how will the center's direction decide which needs to prioritize over others? We'll have 45 seconds.
I think a lot of it is listening to the student body and listening to what they need. Already we've heard that students want expanded access to our professional wear closet that right now relies on donations. We also see students want grocery gift cards, they want rideshare gift cards, stuff we can't currently offer with the funding. In addition, accessibility resources. These are important on campus and students need this. So in prioritizing resources, we'll listen to the students, we'll listen to people who are visiting our center and provide them with what they need.
Thank you. If new categories of basic needs emerge in the future, what process will the Basic Needs Center use to evaluate and incorporate them without compromising existing services? You'll again have 45 seconds.
Again, I think it has to do with prioritizing what the students want, what we see students taking more of in the center, stuff that we're going to purchase more of. We want to make sure that we are spending the money responsibly, we're spending the money in such a
Thank you. You may now give your 60-second closing statement.
Thank you for having me this evening. I really appreciate the chance to come talk about the amendment. We have been proud to serve UCLA students for the past 7 years, and a lot of this has been because of your support in 2020 in passing the referendum. We're once again asking for your support to allow us to have the flexibility in using our future funding. We want to use this funding in order to expand our basic needs resources on campus and to protect our home to meet the evolving needs of students in the future. As a reminder, it will increase student fees, so I really implore you to consider voting yes.
Thank you, Madeline. At this point, we would like to call to the stage the Resources First Referendum Ballot Initiative Representative Tommy Contreras.
Hello, Tommy. When you're ready, you may begin with your 60-second opening statement.
Bruins, too many of our students are falling between the cracks. Whether that's survivors seeking out support, students who are skipping meals, or individuals who are faced with unforeseen financial hardships. These issues cannot rely on uncertain grant funding or piecemeal support. These issues need funding now. And that is why we are putting forth the Resources First referendum, which will provide increased emergency funding towards resources on campus that save lives and help keep students at UCLA. The Resources First referendum will create increased funding for the Campus Assault Resources and Education Center, which provides confidential support to survivors of sexual violence. Increased funding to Bruin, which provides students with free meals and helps combat food insecurity on our campus. And increased funding to the Economic Crisis Response Team, which provides students facing emergency financial circumstances with financial support that they need.
How will you ensure that all resources are meeting the most urgent and evolving needs of students? You'll have 45 seconds to answer this question.
So overall, the mission of this referendum is focused on just that, meeting the emergency needs of the students and the needs of the students that are now. In the coming year, the UC system-wide is facing a nearly $400 million budget deficit. And unfortunately, when budgets are cut, funding for basic needs and student resources are often among the first to go. That being said, the heart of this referendum is focused on providing emergency funding to help support these needs, to help support students, and to help ensure that students are not facing the consequences of the money issues facing the UC system-wide. This referendum is focused on putting students first and putting the needs of students and student wellness first where it belongs.
Thank you. For your second question, to what extent do students take advantage of the services provided by CARE, Bruin and ECRT, the listed entities that would be funded by this referendum? You'll have 45 seconds.
So, as I mentioned, a lot of these resources are solely focused on helping students directly. That being said, these are resources that students access every day, and they are resources that any one of us may need to access at any moment. Bruin provides emergency support resources for students facing food insecurity by providing directly free meals, by collecting meals that were uneaten in the UCLA dining halls and redistributing them to the community, directly into the hands of students. The Economic Crisis Response Team provides emergency financial aid directly to students at a much quicker rate without having to go through all the mazes of the financial aid here on an institutional level at UCLA. And CARE provides confidential resources directly to students.
Thank you. We now like to call the ballot representative. Oh, sorry. You may now go ahead with your 60-second closing statement.
Bruins, the Resources First referendum is not just another increase to student fees. It is a $4 investment in each other. It is an investment in the belief that students should not have to fight through crises alone. As I mentioned, the Resources First referendum will provide increased funding to the Campus Center for Assault Resources and Education, as well as Bruin and the Emergency Crisis Response Team. These are resources that students need every day, and they are resources that any of us may need at any given moment. The Resources First referendum is a reflection of our values here at UCLA, that students are meant to stand by students and support each other. It is founded in the belief that when we care, students can create lasting change here at UCLA. I encourage you to raise your voices, to stand up, and vote yes on the Resources First referendum, May 9th through May 16th on My UCLA.
Thank you, Tommy. You may now take your seat. At this point, we would like to call to the stage the Universal Access Transit Pass Renewal Ballot Initiative Representative Michael Griffin.
Hi, Michael. When you're ready, you may give your 60-second opening statement.
Thank you. Bruins, the UPass is expiring. Since its inception in 2023, the Universal Access Transit Pass has been providing unlimited, fare-free travel on public transit in LA County to UCLA undergraduates. It has been used over 1.2 million times, saving Bruins over $1.6 million in transit fares. The Universal Access Transit Pass renewal referendum is seeking to renew funding for this essential program past its current expiration date of 2026 to last until 2030. At a higher but still modest fee of $6.80 per quarter, Bruins will be able to continue utilizing this invaluable resource to get to school, home, work, or anywhere around LA County. Over the next 5 years, new public transportation projects like the D-Line extension of Westwood, LAX Metro Transit Center and Automated People Mover, Link Union Station, and 28 by 28 bus lanes and bike paths will make the UPass even more valuable to use for students.
Thank you. That's time. If the referendum is passed, how will Bruins for Better Transit ensure greater usage rates among undergrads? You'll have 45 seconds.
Of course. As of right now, we consistently see a majority of UCLA students utilizing the Universal Access Transit Pass every quarter, and we monitor this data very closely. We use our social media engagement to make sure that Bruins know how to renew their UPass and where to go if they have concerns or need help. And we're always out there working with UCLA Transportation to make sure that students are able to access this pass and to troubleshoot any issues that they might encounter. Renewing this pass will be continuing a lot of our current work and outreach efforts to make sure that Bruins can stay informed and are able to successfully access this pass.
Thank you. How will Bruins for Better Transit better expand the ways in which it tracks and measures transit access for undergraduate students? You'll again have 45 seconds.
Yeah, so currently we have a running data sheet of the ridership that we observe every quarter, and this data comes from UCLA Transportation. UCLA Transportation does manage the billing and a lot of the data around this referendum. We are more on the advocacy side, but in terms of management and keeping students engaged with this pass, we are always looking to work with other clubs, work with offices in USAC to make sure that students are utilizing this pass to its full potential. As I mentioned, it saved over $1.6 million in public transportation fares, and it is able to provide unlimited transportation for our commuter students and students who are financially insecure.
Thank you. When you're ready, you may now give your 60-second closing statement.
I would have to say the most rewarding part of working on this campaign for me has been hearing the stories from my fellow Bruins of how much the UPass means to them. I've heard from commuter students using the UPass to get to school every day, from students commuting from campus to work, new freshmen and transfer students using their tap cards to explore their new home of Los Angeles, students using free transit to get to concerts, go shopping, explore new restaurants, or give back to the LA community. The common thread linking these stories together is that the UPass is an integral part of the student experience at UCLA. According to UC policy, student referendums need at least 20% voter turnout to be valid. So I am calling on every undergraduate to please vote yes in USAC elections this May and keep the UPass around for the next 5 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we begin the to give another reminder, candidates, please bear in mind that you are not permitted to bring any form of notes onto the stage with you.
Thank you. We'd now like to welcome to the stage the candidates for president, Diego Boyle, Jordan King, and Verna.
Good evening. There are a few of you on stage right now, so if you just begin by stating your names. We'll start with Jordan.
Hello, my name is Jordan King.
Hello, my name is Tisha Shriram. Hello, my name is Mafruha Rahman Isha.
Hello, my name is Madeline.
Hello, my name is David Boyle.
Now let's begin. Good evening, Diego. When you're ready, please begin with your 60-second opening statement.
Hi everyone, my name is David Boyle. I'm a third year studying political science and labor studies, and I'm a proud first generation Bruin, like many of you in this room here today. I currently serve as your General Representative 1, where I proudly serve so that I support and advocate for the diverse needs of our student body. As your General Representative 1, I've stood and backed with campus workers. I've supported international and undocumented students. I prioritize basic needs. I've worked with local and state officials on the government level. I prioritize advancing and changing away from policing on campus, and so much more. I served on the Appointments Review Committee, where I've worked with handling different governing bodies at UCLA, including the Academic Senate, the Judicial Board, EA's UCLA Board of Directors, and a lot of UCLA campus-wide committees. This year, I'm running to become your next student body president on 5 major platforms. Basic access and needs now, students first, not policing, prioritizing access and retention as well.
Thank you. That's time. Now, Jordan, when you're ready, please begin with your 60-second opening statement.
Hello everyone, my name is Jordan King. I'm a third year psychology major and a minor in education. I'm Samoan, Black, and Chinese, and I'm from Inglewood, first gen student, and I'm running for your USAC president. I come from multiple positions on campus. I'm the president of the Pacific Island Student Association, as well as a staff assistant and chairperson at the Community Programs Office. And I've seen firsthand the impact that we need, the support that we need on our campus. And through that, my platforms, I think it's really important that we hold our leadership, administration, and both student leadership accountable. I think that we need to build trust with our administration and also our current leadership, including USAC. I think our students are lost, confused, hurt, and broken, and I think this is the time where we lean on our leadership to truly make that impact and fully trust them, whether that's student affairs or USAC. I also plan to highlight, expand, and also acknowledge all the basic needs resources on campus. I think that there's a lot of resources that need to be acknowledged. And also
Thank you. Mafruha, when you're ready, you may begin with your 60-second opening statement.
Good evening, Bruins. My name is Mafruha Rahman Isha, and I'm running to be your next USAC president. I've already done the work. As part of being budget review director for USAC, I handle over $335,000 in undergraduate student funding. I have empowered 130 plus student organizations, reformed outdated systems, and cleared backlogged accounts for the students alone. Because to me, leadership doesn't come with title, it comes with results. I have stood on global platforms like the United Nations. I have done United Nations work for health initiatives, and I've worked with so many people, and I have brought results. Right now, I'm working to further these results by working for the students in UCLA. I plan on increasing meals-wide access, cutting my own stipend to show you that how committed I am for the UCLA community, to show you that the money you spend in USAC is going to go back to your initiatives. And for that, I'm running for USAC president. Thank you.
Thank you. Tamim, when you're ready, please begin with your 60-second opening statement.
Assalamu alaikum, namaste, and a very evening to one more present here. My name is Ahmed, and I'm not just trying to be our next USAC president. I'm standing here as the voice of every single student who's ever felt like they don't belong. I come from a small town in Bihar, India. I was raised in the multicultural vibrant chaos of Dubai, and I came to UCLA with a suitcase full of dreams, hope, and fear. I didn't know where I fit in. I battled cultural shock, homesickness, and the silence of not seeing anyone who looked like me at the table. But I stayed, I listened, I learned, and I led. I found power in the very story I once thought set me apart. As your international student representative, I have fought for our community in every single way possible. And I'm not done yet. I'm running to be your next USAC president with Project AML, and AML means hope. And hope isn't soft. Hope is radical, uplifting, organizing, and reimagining a UCLA where every single student, irrespective of their background, is not just included, but empowered. So let's lead together, let's rise together, and let's build a UCLA for everyone.
Thank you. Now moving on, Tisha, when you're ready, please begin with your 60-second opening statement.
Hi Bruins, my name is Tisha Sriram. I'm a third-year, first-year transfer. My pronouns are she, they, and I'm running to be your next USAC president. Currently, I hold several leadership positions on campus, including being the president of Tavares, which includes the Transfer LLC. I think it's really important to be up here as a transfer student to show all of us transfers that our previous experience is valid. I would like to state my work as a leader, both here on campus and within our communities. I started off at UCR as a student advocate, where I was able to reach high levels and advocate with the UC Regents as a star in multiple meetings, where I was able to talk directly to the people that govern the UC board on various topics that affect us, including funding for care offices, collegiate recovery programs, and the ethical spending of our funding. As president, I hope to create a safe and accessible campus where we make sure campus resources are meeting students where they're at, and that we are focusing on both the physical and emotional safety of all the student leaders here and students here at UCLA. Thank you.
Thank you, Tisha. Now we'll move on to questions. Diego, you'll have the first response to the next question. How will you prioritize and balance the diverse needs of the student body when making campus-wide decisions? You'll have 45 seconds.
Yeah, of course, great question. As General Representative One, I've worked with the diverse needs of our students, but most importantly in our leadership, especially in the Office of the President, we need to understand that USAC could be used and needs to be used as a channel for social change. That means uplifting our most marginalized students, including our transfers, undocumented immigrant students, our marginalized students, our first generation of low-income students, and international students who don't feel like UCLA is home to them. As Gen Rep 1, I've worked with several campus committees, and I've worked to establish and hopefully continue to work to establish the Advisory Council on Immigration Policy. We saw that Gene Block actually disbanded this committee in 2022 when he saw that Joe Biden was elected into office, and now we're seeing that the UC is going back on its promises to protect its students.
Thank you. Would any candidates like to offer a 30-second response? Jordan?
Yeah, I guess I would agree. I think another approach is making sure that all people are at the table, if not creating a different table. Making sure that there isn't only one community represented in these conversations, that we try to actively reach out and make sure that we get a representative from all communities and never putting one over another. I think that's something we often do at our school in a lot of leadership positions, but I think we need to focus on making equitable decisions and making sure that we actually put opposites aside, whether we have problems or not, and making sure that we have people at the table to make these decisions.
Thank you, Jordan. Any other candidates in the room?
I completely agree with Diego. I definitely agree that UCLA should be a campus that lives up to its status of being #1 in the nation. But that comes with being a good leader. Being a part of USAC as USAC president should mean that you understand that USAC has many subcommittees, many organizations that are working towards the same goal. So as president, you need to be someone who is good at leading these committees to uplift communities that are able to thrive under our leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Tamim?
Could you just repeat the question once again?
Yes. How will you prioritize and balance the diverse needs of the student body when making campus-wide decisions?
Thanks, Lord. Yeah, I think so everyone on this panel spoke my mind. I just also want to add something which we already have in USAC called the CAB, which is a Professional Advisory Board, which is a panel of all student organizations, making sure that their voice is actually inputted in the decisions we make as USAC. I am a Muslim, I'm an Indian, I'm an international student, I'm from Dubai. I have a subset of my identities. And there are 50 members in USAC who have their subsets. But it is important to ensure that every single diverse perspective is being considered during decision making.
That would be time. Any other candidates, Tisha?
Yeah, I completely agree with everyone else here up with me. I think one of the ways that I would do this is by creating more town halls and focus groups where students are able to step into student government for a moment if they're not able to continuously participate and really voice their concerns. And as president, I hope to ensure that open line of communication where students are able to really voice that, really bring in their diverse perspectives and their identities. Thank you.
Thank you. Now moving on, Jordan, you'll have the first response. Oh, sorry. Diego, would you like to close out that question with a 20-second rebuttal?
Yeah, of course. I think all these ideas are great. I want to go back to the idea of a town hall. Well, it's really great to have town halls that are accessible for students. Unfortunately, we see that students are very busy and they don't know what USAC is. Accessing student government is super difficult. So as president, it's really important that you have these relationships and have these established connections with these student organizations, with these coalitions. And I think that to be president, you already should have these connections and work with them.
Thank you. Now moving on, Jordan will have the first response to the next question. What's your vision for fostering unity and collaboration among all USAC offices and student organizations? You'll have 45 seconds.
Yeah, I think I already mentioned the Congressional Advisory Board is a part of USAC, so highlighting that. But as well as what we talked about town halls and these open forums, I think having that exclusively to students that are highlighting student leadership and positions will be a great opportunity for that. And as well as bringing in administration to listen to their students' concern and build that morale. I think that we should also have some type of resort where we have a day where everyone is advocating for their own campaigns or their own organizations or their own any type of initiative that they want to run. Having that for our students would be a great opportunity for them.
Thank you. Would any candidates like to offer a 30-second response? Mafura.
Could you please repeat the question?
Yes. What's your vision for fostering unity and collaboration among all USAC offices and student organizations?
You know, USAC is run by the money that we as students give to USAC students. So one of my first platforms to making USAC united is actually giving back to the community that elects us. By that, I mean I want to cut USAC official stipends to make sure that this money gets reinvested into campus initiative programs that help the students. I mean, how is it fair to the students who already struggle paying for school to be paying for us as well? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other candidates? Diego?
I think, honestly, I'm going to be honest, this is a horrible idea, defunding USAC office stipends. If it weren't for these stipends, we wouldn't have low-income first-generation students, marginalized students coming to these positions. If you want to defund USAC office stipends, then you open the director stipends. Then you're going to see the collapse of so many commissions like the SWC, the CAC, and the CEC. It just doesn't make sense. Students put in their time, their labor, their creativity to make these campaigns, make these initiatives come into life.
Thank you, Diego. Yes, Janine?
Yeah, I completely agree with David. Thanks a lot for bringing that point. First of all, the UC president does not control what the stipend is. It's minimum wage controlled by the UC regions. And as Diego said, cutting down the stipend is a horrendous idea because the stipend is what allows people to actually choose between their jobs and advocating for their community. If you cut the stipends down, people who is a first gen or an international student who is working jobs to make sure that they can afford to be here at this university will not be able to advocate for their own communities.
Thank you. Any other candidates? Tisha?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes. What's your vision for fostering unity and collaboration among all USAC offices and student organizations?
Yeah, I think with the role of president, you really are the guiding leader for USAC, so really ensuring that the one-on-ones and the collaborations within the offices are happening and continue to happen. And then moving on to the student organization side of it, really opening up USAC and opportunities within it and its transparency so that these student leaders and advocates are able to come and approach us and work alongside with us and allow them to build our platforms up. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other candidates like to speak? All right. Now,
Sorry, did I get a rebuttal?
yes, you get a rebuttal.
Yes.
Okay. Now, would you like to offer a second rebuttal?
Yes, so sorry. I think that the main thing about student organization is funding, and I completely agree with cutting the stipends that we have. I think that we need to reevaluate all the finances on our campus, whether that's a committee or council or a department, and really make everything public. I think that one thing about USAC is you guys don't have a lot of things out and open about the funding, so I think that's something we should reevaluate.
Thank you. That would be time.
Thank you. Mafura, you'll have the next question. How would you ensure that USAC remains accessible and relevant to students who feel disconnected from student government? You'll have 45 seconds.
Thank you for that question. I think USAC should be a bridge between the admins and the students. As people who are are in leadership positions, we owe it to the people who elect us to be a bridge between the admins. There's many things that we as in leadership positions don't know, so our job is to communicate with the students that elect us and communicate those words back to the admins. So for me, USAC has to be a bridge. And I think the best way to do that is to ensure that when we get elected, we're doing it because we want to help the people, not because there is an external force that's pushing us to this position of anything else, but because we're passionate about helping the students who put us here, but because we want to help our community, our USAC people, our UCLA Bruins. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other candidates to meet?
Yes, I disagree with the fact that we have to be a bridge between the student community as well as the administration. Sometimes the administration turns on us. If you can see the example of last year's encampment and the creation of PPM policies as well as the creation of campus of office safety, we have seen that the admin is using those policies to brutalize students and oppress students. And it is important to stand for student voices rather than just being a puppet and yeah.
Thank you. What are the other candidates? Jordan?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah. How would you ensure that USAC remains accessible and relevant to students who feel disconnected from student government?
I think I can completely agree with the statement of actually having people in these leadership positions that care and are from the community. I think often we need to reevaluate our election processes because there is an inner circle within our leadership that I do want to shed light on. I think that when it comes to all of the decisions and the appointments, it's very clickiness, and I think we need to be more inclusive to those students that do feel excluded from these spaces. I can speak for myself, coming from a low-income background, I don't feel comfortable in some of these positions.
What are the other candidates? Diego?
I just want to highlight a lot of what's said, but focusing on the fact that administration, they're not our friends, we're not here to be buddies with them. Unfortunately, they are turning our backs at them. And Jordan, you actually mentioned the student affairs. Like, we're not here to be friends with Monroe Gordon, we're not here to be friends with the student affairs team. At the end of the day, USAC is almost a union for students. We're here to not only bridge between administration, but we're here to have a lending hand. We're here to uplift students. That means taking the students to UC Regents meetings. That means confronting administration in the hall.
Tisha, would you like to offer a 30-second response?
Yes. So on the note of accessibility and relevance, I think that a lot of students pay attention to our student media on our campus, so really ensuring that we're working with them to really get the word out on what we're doing within USAC is really important, and also to continue to empower our students. I think there's a lot of opportunity to get involved, but I also notice a lot of students that get rejected from different positions within USAC or the lobby days fill up, so really focusing on the fact that we have students that want to get involved in creating those opportunities for them. So moving money around, making sure.
Orfua, would you like to close that question out with a 20-second rebuttal?
Yes, please. With all due respect, I respect every single person who's sitting here, but I think we misunderstand the definition of the word bridge. It's not being a puppet for the admins, rather it's understanding the admins control the majority of the things going on in campus. So when USAC can be an in for the students, advocating for the students, standing up for the students to the admins, that's when we make a difference. Thank you.
The meeting will have the first response to the next question. What are your top 2 priorities for improving student life, and how would you realistically begin implementing them during your term?
Okay, so for me, the top 2 priorities would be the rural basic needs access. That, as we have seen, 3 referendums already being passed. Basic need is a huge problem in our communities, whether it be CalFresh initiatives or international undocumented students. The second thing which I would like to work upon is inclusive campus. Many of the buildings here at UCLA are ADA non-compliant. It is important to ensure that inclusivity is in all aspects, so we need to make sure that there is a campus which is an inclusive campus. And to do that, we will be establishing a campus accessibility audit as well as several areas for sensitive free.
Thank you. Would any of the candidates like to offer a 30-second response? Diego?
Yeah, I think one of my top priorities coming into the office of the president is strengthening UCLA's diversity initiatives and holding UCLA accountable, making sure that UCLA goes through with its promises of becoming an HSI, and ensuring that resources, including the new Latinx Success Center, remain funded throughout our entire time here at UCLA, encouraging UCLA to strengthen their access for disabled students, to promoting universal design for learning. Another one of the top priorities is, we saw it yesterday, is moving away from militarization of policing on campus. Students don't feel safe when they see third-party
Yeah, I would say that I would disagree. I think my candidates that currently serve on USAC, there was a referendum that got no votes to be put on the ballot. That was a basic and essential need referendum in 2025 that catered to CalFresh and for our international students, that catered to a whole bunch of different resources, 580 Cafe, CPO Food Closet, the bank, and there are some candidates that use these resources. And I think the fact of not trusting our students to make that decision is something that we need to reevaluate when it comes to putting these decisions out.
Before?
Now, I really like the ideas that have been put forth here, but I think we need to understand that as USAC president, in that position, you're representing all of USAC, not international students, not underrepresented, but all the students that are in UCLA. That means all the initiatives that you put forward have to be catered towards UCLA students. And we also have to understand that USAC has many subcommittees. They focus on all these things. As USAC leadership in the position of president, you have to manage and be the leader that guides them towards a new life. And I think that's what we lack in UCLA right now, in USAC currently. Thank you.
Thank you. Tisha?
Yeah, I think the two things that I would focus on would be accessibility and safety. We have a lot of resources here, but they're not meeting students where they're at. So really ensuring that we're doing things to publicize that and make sure that students are able to access the resources, and then that way identifying further gaps and focusing on that advocacy. And then on the second part of safety, our campus needs to be physically and emotionally safe for all students, and it currently isn't. So as being a part of USAC, taking advantage of relationships and a connection, we have to do that.
Tamim, would you like to close that question out with the 20-second rebuttal?
Yes, absolutely. The reason why the referendum, which was mentioned earlier, was not supported by the USAC community was because of CPO's lack of financial accessibility and transparency reports. Further on, we need leaders in the position who can turn visions into reality and just not talk the talk but also walk the walk. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Tisha, you'll have the first response to the next question. How do you plan to support students amid policy changes from the federal government? You'll have 45 seconds.
Yeah, I think there's currently so much happening within the federal government that is directly affecting us on a day-to-day basis. I believe with the incredible platform of USAC president that I will have the absolute privilege to be able to work with students, to work with admin, to really make sure that we are protecting our students. I think first off, really ensuring the physical and emotional safety on our campus. We have way too much policing happening right out here at housing. Last night was incredibly scary to see. And so making sure that with that platform, I'm using the ability and the connections that I have, but also knowing that I've had past experience speaking with the UC Regents, which is our highest level of governance, and knowing how to work with them to ensure that we are protecting our students first.
Thank you. Would any candidates like to offer a 30-second statement? Jordan?
Yeah, I would completely agree. I think, like I said previously, our students are really confused and hurt. And right now, I think being a part of USAC president is being present, being in these communities and going up to them and asking them what they need currently. I think that it is a little bit informative to say that we can fix all of the problems across the U.S. I think we should take one step at a time and make sure that we provide these spaces of having healing spaces of where students can come in and really talk their concerns, and having that administration leadership that we trust come in and reassuring them that everything will be okay.
Thank you. Any other candidates? Diego?
First point, we don't trust admin. Second point, we need to continue providing that transparency for our students, whether it be campus federal policy town halls, that's already happened. And third, as president, you're the sole liaison between the student bodies, 33,000. You have to go against the federal policies, and you have to go advocate for other bodies. You have to go to the California State Legislature in Sacramento. You have to talk to the UC Regents. You have to talk to the UC Office of the President to make sure that UCLA and the UC won't go down with Trump. They're going to stand right, and they're not going to go backwards, and they're going to fulfill the promises they made with students enrolled.
Thank you. Any other candidates left for go?
I completely agree with everything that has been said, but I do disagree with one point where we say that we cannot trust the admins. I agree with some portion of it, but at the same time, admins rule majority of UCLA. Whether we like it or not, that's a fact. So as someone who may or may not be part of USAC board, as president, what we do is we become the voice of the people. We have to admit that by working with the admins, but voicing the words of the UCLA students, that's when we bring real change. When we admit that we have power and they have power, we work with it. Thank you.
Tamim?
Yeah, I don't think so working with the admin is the right word. I would say putting pressure on the admin by advocating for the students, you have been elected. As Davis said, like, it is important that we stand united as a community of students. When there was the visa revocations which happened, this international community was scared. The international community did not get any support from the administration, and it was up to us as student leaders to make sure that they were supported. They had the legal resources as well as they had spaces to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Tisha, would you like to close out that question with a 20-second rebuttal?
Yeah. I believe here at UCLA we're in a very unique position where a lot of admin and universities look at us for a model of what to do. So I think it's important that we focus on our students, but also focus on the impact that we're having on higher education in general. And I think it's important to go be that voice and to insert ourselves in spaces where we might be silenced, but still take advantage.
Thank you. Diego, when you're ready, please offer your 60-second closing statement.
Yeah, of course, everybody. First off, I want to say Happy May Day, and you see the ASME workers on our campus striking. The ASME president is not president for President Drake, so why should the UC president? Why should USAC president be friends with Drake, Julia Frank? This is not how our relationship works. As General Representative 1, I've stood with students, I've been a bold leader, and I'll continue this bold leadership as we see UCLA going for the next 4 years. I'm going to ensure that our basic needs are prioritized, and the reason I voted no on it is because $3 million is a quarter of the USAC budget. It doesn't make sense, and we all know it. And so as USAC president, I'll stand for it and make sure that UCLA does not go backwards, it moves forwards, and it commits to the promises that we've all made. It strengthens our diversities, it commits to basic needs and housing, and ensures that we all thrive at UCLA, in Westwood and in California.
Thank you. Jordan, when you're ready, please offer your 60-second closing statement.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for providing this space and providing the opportunity for us to come up here and speak. If I am elected, I do want to lead with community and consistency and equity. I think that when it comes to our campus, there's a lot of things that need to be fixed. I think we all said that today, and there's a lot of actions that need to be done, but I think stepping forward is that we need to have that accountability with, again, administration. Not saying that we trust them yet, but we need to build that trust and reevaluate the process of the hiring, administration, and hiring student affairs and the election process within USAC. We need to come together as a community because it really is an important time. We need to trust one another and bring back that true Bruin values that UCLA loves to advocate for. I think we need to be the students first that really is the one that puts up out there for underrepresented students, for minoritized. All students matter, and I think we need to lead with that. Thank you.
Verna, when you're ready, please give your 60-second closing statement.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be even up here to speak with everyone. My first year in UCLA was a very difficult one, to the point where, because of paperwork issues, I was even considering dropping out. But that's when many people in UCLA helped me get back on my feet. Whether it was my classmates who were struggling with their own issues and admins who were having, other stuff that was going on in their offices, they checked up on me and made sure I was okay. So I feel like I owe it to the Bruin community to give back in any way I know how. And I feel that my leadership positions that I've held before will be a great benefit to UCLA. I'm someone who makes connections. That's what I'm known for. And for UCLA, that is one benefit I will be bringing to you. I will be a president who will keep my doors open. Because during my years of struggle, I wish I had someone to tell me, it will be okay, you'll get through this. So I want to be that president for you. Someone who will keep their door open and tell you that I will guide you, I will help you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Tameen, when you're ready, please offer your 60-second closing statement.
Bruins, this campaign isn't just about leadership, it's about belonging. It's about the student who's working 2 jobs and still showing up to class. It's about the international student who's navigating a new country with courage. It's about the transfer student finding their place. It's about the first-gen student who's breaking barriers. It's about those who have been told they don't fit in, but they rise anyways. I've lived that journey, and I'm not here just to be a voice for you. I'm here to be a microphone with you, amplifying your concerns and making sure those concerns are addressed. As your next USAC president, I'll fight for UCLA where equity is action, where community is culture, and where every single student matters. Not just in policy, but in practice. So let's write the next chapter of UCLA together, with hope, with solidarity, with support, with the me. Thank you.
live stream. I just want to say that if elected as your next USAC president, I'm here to fight for better academic advising support, better mental health access, support for survivors, both physical and emotional safety on our campus, and transparency and empowerment with USAC. I will be a president that shows other transfer students that their previous experience is valid and make sure that every single student that wants to advocate, that wants to lobby, has a voice and has a platform to do so. My name is Tisha and I'm here to get it done as your next USAC president. Thank you.
Please remain seated for closing remarks by the moderators.
Thank you again to all the candidates for taking the time this evening to share your platforms, and to everyone who joined us, whether in person at the Northwest Campus Auditorium or online through the Daily Bruin's live stream.
We hope that these debates provided valuable insight into each candidate's vision for UCLA and the Undergraduate Students Association. As a reminder, voting is a vital part of shaping our campus community, and we encourage everyone to take what they've learned tonight into consideration when casting their ballot. As a reminder, voting will be open on MyUCLA from May 9th till May 16th. On behalf of the USA Elections Board and the Daily Bruin, thank you again for being part of this important process.